This is tutorial number 4 in Python Flask while we are building our employee attendance API using Python Flask, which is a micro framework for Python used to develop web applications. So in this tutorial, we are going to start working on our project. And the first step we are going to do, let's create a new folder on our desktop. So as you are seeing, I am inside the desktop. So let me just right click and create a new folder, and I'm going to rename this folder to employee attendance API. So let me rename the folder. Let us call it Flask. Let us call it Flask underscore employee underscore attendance. Underscore API. So this is our folder name. So after creating our folder, let us just open this folder inside the terminal. As you are seeing, I have opened up the folder inside my terminal. And the next step we are going to do, we are going to install a Python package on our Ubuntu system to allow us create virtual environments. So we are going to be creating or running our employee attendance API inside a virtual environment. And the reason as to why we are going to be using a virtual environment is that all the dependencies we are going to install within this project will not affect the rest of the Python outside this project. So to do that, just go ahead and run the command sudo apt install python free minus venv. So this venv, it means virtual environment. So just hit enter and provide your sudo password. So I already have this package installed. That's why you are seeing it is saying it's the newest package. So after you installing that package, you just go ahead and create your virtual environment. So to create the virtual environment, just run the command python free minus m venv. So we are using the venv we have just installed to create the virtual environment, and I'm going to call my virtual environment venv. So this last one is the name of our virtual environment, and we are using the package venv we have just installed to create the virtual environment. And after that, you just hit enter and just wait for your virtual environment to be created. So the virtual environment was created, but you cannot get the virtual environment being used minus activating the virtual environment. So after creating your virtual environment, you just go ahead and activate your virtual environment. And to activate it, just type a command source.venv, which is the name of your virtual environment, stroke bin stroke activate. So this command is working on Linux and all Debian systems. So the command is source.venv, which is the name of your virtual environment. So if your virtual environment is not venv, just provide your virtual environment name, then stroke bin stroke activate, and you hit enter, and automatically, as you are seeing, our virtual environment has been activated. So you are seeing now we are starting with .venv, which is our virtual environment. So now we are inside our virtual environment, and all the packages we are going to install inside this project will not affect the rest of the Python outside this project. So that is the beauty of the virtual environment. So since we are going to be creating our API using Python Flask, we must go ahead and install Flask on our machine or inside our virtual environment. So to install Python Flask inside our virtual environment, just use the Python package manager, which is called pip. So just run pip install Flask. Pip install Flask. So Flask is a package manager for Python. So just hit enter and wait for Flask to be installed inside your virtual environment. And as you are seeing, Flask was installed inside our virtual environment. And inside our project, we shall be using a database, which will be SQLite database. And for us to communicate with the database, let us install another package called Flask SQL Alchemy. So SQL Alchemy is an object relational mapper which we shall be using to communicate with our database without writing SQL queries. So if you have been using PHP, Laravel, you know what is called eloquent. So in this case, SQL Alchemy is the same as eloquent in Python. Flask. So just run the command pip install Flask. Pip install Flask minus SQL Alchemy. So that is the spelling. Pip install Flask minus SQL Alchemy. Just hit enter and you wait for the package to get installed. And as you are seeing, SQL Alchemy was really installed inside our virtual environment. So we have seen so far we have installed the two dependencies, that is Flask and SQL Alchemy. So what happens when you transfer this project onto a machine where you do not have these dependencies installed? Automatically this project won't run. You must first go ahead and install the dependencies. So let me create a requirements file inside our project and consolidate or copy and paste all the requirements we need for this project to run. So just run a command pip freeze with a greater than sign, then requirements.txt. So what this command is going to do, is going to create a new file called requirements.txt, and it's going to copy all the dependencies we need for our project. So in order to copy the dependencies you need into your project, just run the command pip freeze greater than sign with this text file. So just hit enter and wait, and automatically that one was created. So let us ls into the project and see, and as you are seeing, this one was created. You can go ahead and open it inside your text editor and see whether the dependencies were copied into the file. But alternatively, we can use cat, then we specify the requirements.txt. So cat comes with Ubuntu pre-installed and other Debian systems. So in Linux, you can use cat to open a given file. So cat requirements.txt, hit enter, and as you are seeing, now I have opened up the contents of requirements.txt, and these are the dependencies for my project. So the dependencies were copied into our project, and after that, let us continue. So if you go on a machine where you do not have these requirements installed, you just need to run pip minus r install requirements.txt. So once you run this command on a machine where you do not have these dependencies installed, automatically the dependencies will get installed on the machine. So let us go ahead and continue. And in the next step, we are going to create a new Python file inside our directory, and to create it, just run the command. You can go inside your text editor and you create the file, or you can use the touch command. So let me provide the touch commands. I'll say touch API.py. So this one will create a new Python file called API. So py touch API.py will create a new Python file called API. And if you ls, automatically you are seeing API.py is inside our project directory. And now let me open up that and put a simple or basic code and run the code to make sure that our Flask server is up and running. So to do that, I'm going to open it inside Nano editor. So Nano is a text editor which comes pre-installed with the Linux, or you can open the file inside your text editor and provide this code. So let me use Nano. So I will say Nano API.py. So now you are seeing I am inside the Nano editor, and from that, let me say from Flask import Flask. So we are importing Flask from Flask, and make sure this is capital. And also we are importing request because we shall need to use it within our project. Let us also import JSONify because our API will be using JSON. And also let us import make_response. We shall need those to create responses inside our app. So now let me provide a comment here and say, let us make an instance of a Flask app. Let's make an instance of a Flask app. And for that, you just need to declare your app, which is equal to Flask. Then you provide __name __. So that is it. Then we move on to a new line. Then we say at app.route. So we are creating a new route, and this route we are putting it on home. So it is a home route, and we are defining a new function. So to define a new function, use def. So def index. So the name of the function is index, and it takes nothing in the arguments, and we shall say return. So this function is going to return, let us say, hello, welcome to Flask. So that is the return statement we are going to return inside this function. And for you to run the Flask server, you just need to provide the main. So we shall say if __name __ is equal to, then you provide __main __. Then we shall say app.run, and we are going to be running this app inside the debugger mode. So we shall run the app in the debug mode. spell debug correctly, and the debug is going to be equal to true. And you can also provide the host. So let me give it host 0.0.0.0. This one will be so useful when we shall integrate in Docker, as you shall see. So to save inside the nano, just press Ctrl O. You hit enter. You have seen we have wrote 11 lines. Then you press Ctrl X to exit. So now, having provided our code, let us run the server. Run the server, just run Python free, then the name of your file, api.py, and okay, we never indented well our code. So let us go back. Inside the nano editor and try to indent this. So that one must be indented. So Ctrl O to save, hit enter, then Ctrl X to exit, then you run the server. Sorry. Ctrl X. So let us run the server again. And as you are seeing, on line 10, we need to indent. So it is an invalid syntax. So let us see. So let us go back on this line. Okay. After the if, provide a space, and you come before the equal sign, you provide a space, and after the equal sign, you provide space. So make sure your code is indented in such a way. Then let us save and try to run the project. So Python free API.py. So expected unindented block. So on this line, let us go ahead and indent that. Yeah, let us come back. So we put an indentation there. So let us go ahead and save. After saving, we exit the editor and run the project again. And as you are seeing, now our server has been started. So this is a development server, and if we visit this URL inside the browser, you are seeing hello, welcome to Flask. And as you are seeing, that one was the code we provided. Inside our file. So as you are seeing, we have tested. Python Flask is running, and in the next tutorial, we are going to be creating our database and start to coding the API endpoints right away. And we shall start with the authentication of the API, as we marked it on our Jira board that authentication must be our first task to work on. So thanks for watching. Do not forget to like and subscribe. So let us meet in the next tutorial.